So what is a hard day, if you don't mind me asking, again, we're not mentioning names, what is a hard day at your school?
Hard day at our school is if we have a few kids at one time that are having a hard day. You know, because our kids feed off of each other and they love each other and they care about each other. So if you are having a hard day because you had a fight with mom before you even got to us, and so you're having a meltdown, and then Mary will have a meltdown because Rob's upset and she doesn't know how to help him. So then she has her form of a meltdown. So then, you know, we're a small staff, so how to take care of everyone, get them in a safe place. That's about, and it doesn't happen that often, but when it does, those are the hard days.
Yeah.
Or if for me, a hard day is when I have to tell a family their kid doesn't fit with us. That's one of the hardest days for me.
Yeah.
Breaks my heart. But I try to have as many resources as we can to say, hey, I can call my friend at this school and it'd be a better fit. But, you know, and financially is the worst. If they can be a great fit for the school, but they can't afford it, that's heartbreaking altogether.
Yeah.
Because then you can't even send them to another school because it's tuition based.
That's true.
So that's a tearjerker moment.
But you guys, since we're on that, but you folks, again, on the board, we talked about it the other night, you're working on something to do a little more for scholarships to help them out, which is, see, you guys are always giving back. Let's talk real quick about that. The stuff that you do, you're teaching these kids to do in the community. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things they've been doing, which, again, they're doing way more at your school. They're getting so much more involved in the community than your average public school.
Oh, definitely. If we're at school, like during COVID, it killed us because we couldn't be off campus. So we do tons of community service, but for us, it's also a practice job skill. Because even if you're making sandwiches in a line, if you can't follow the pace or you can't follow the directions, so when we take them out into a workplace, for us, it's a teaching moment.
Oh, yeah.
And we can take notes and say, when we go back to school, this is what we need to work on. Because once you're in a safe environment, you look competent. And then when you take them out of that environment and just put them in a new surrounding, their anxiety goes up. It's not that they're not competent, the anxiety cripples them.
Yeah.
So then the more we practice and the more we do things, they're more willing to do it. Anyone who needs us, we're there.
Yeah.
Because for us, it's a dual purpose. Our kids are giving back to the community, which for us, you know, being kind and giving back is what the basis of the hub.
Right.
But at the same time, for us, it's a learning for us as teachers to watch and say, okay, Rob needs some more practice with whatever that is.
Yeah. Let's talk, okay, well, so I asked about your hardest day. What's some of the best days?
Oh my goodness, every day's the best day. But even the hardest days are the best days because they're all just learning experiences, and they're just, you know, you wake up in the middle of the night thinking about, like, whoa, what would I have done different? Like, I don't know, it's just fascinating. But my best days. Graduation is an amazing day.
How about you see a kid changing? You had said at one of the luncheons, you were saying, actually I think it was in the video that I recorded, and it was said, and you said, you know, when you see a kid come in really introvert, is the word I'm going to use. Go ahead. So
yeah, so they'll come in, they'll be real shy because their anxiety is really high, and they won't speak to us probably for 2 or 3 weeks, and we don't even try to get academics done at that point. It's just be safe, and we really mean that. We're going to take care of you. And then you come back in 2 months, and they're singing in the Christmas show with all their friends and dancing, and it's, you know, it's just, it's mind-boggling. But it's just, like I said, it's safety, it's being heard, understood, and believed in.
yeah.
Because once they're safe, and just like you and I, you know, we're really comfortable because we know each other for years, right?
Right.
So it's when you're in that safe environment that you're just yourself, and you can be yourself, and you're accepted.
All right, so Kyle, so again, one of the cool things that you do is you get to do what really few people in the world, for the most part, a very small percentage of people, do what they love to do for work, right? So with their idea of vacation, again, you love vacation, but you're going to work and you love what you do. You just said off camera was, if even if you want millionaire, you want all this money, you would probably just make the hub even that much better.
Correct. And I would go to work.
Yeah, you go to work. Yeah,
But it's not work.
that's right.
You know, how do you? Not many people can say, and I feel this in my heart, that you wake up every day and you make a difference in the world. And even if you make a difference in one family, to me, it's like if I can make one person smile that day, then what else is there? That's why I wake up every day and look at it. But when you know, like when you see the stories, like kids that don't come anymore because now they're working full time and they come and they're happy to see you, or when you go to someone's wedding, it's like,
Oh, wow.
I know, it's, you know, and I get it. Some teachers, I believe all teachers go into teaching because they have the passion for it. It's hard. Teaching is a hard job.
Yeah.
And we have the really nice thing about seeing kids the whole way. Like if you're a third grade teacher in public school, you see them You never see those kids when they're in high school and middle school.
Oh, that's true. You don't even see them after fourth because they go to
Correct.
fourth grade, yeah.
And then they go to middle school or whatever. So you lose track of them. But for us, we can see them, like I've had some of these kids since they're 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And now they're in their 20s.
Yeah.
But then when you see they're driving, they pull it in their car and they're being real cool, and then they go to work and they're going to HCC, and it's like, I remember when.
Yeah.
And then you can see the whole thing. And the families are just so happy and proud of their kids.
Yeah, very appreciative. Mm-hmm. I remember the first year I did your video, I just interviewed, I didn't know who these people were, but teachers. It was teachers, obviously, but it was also parents. Mm-hmm. And then, and I can't think of her name, from Starbucks, which was so cool you guys had that connection.
Jean Manning?
Yeah. And hearing all of them, so here's something else I never told you. That very first video, I interviewed everybody, so this is really a great story for what the Hub is about. I interviewed, it must have been close to, seriously, 15 to 20 people, because you had me interview the kids, parents, teachers,
Board members.
and then board members. And then again, the companies that have to do with the Hub who help out. And I did everyone by themselves. I didn't give them, hey guys, this is what we're going to ask you, right? But there was one word, I don't know if you know what the word is, but that they almost all of them said in one way or another. Either they said the word or they did the description of the word when I talked to them about the Hub. And the word was finally. So I talked to parents and they'd be like, you know, I'm looking for places, I've been looking for places for so long, for schools, blah, blah. And finally we found the Hub. Asking the teachers. And that's where I found out the teachers were doing what they want, the way they wanted to teach, right? What they knew. And they were like, finally I'm in a place where I can use, and I'm paraphrasing here, my God-given talent. But they were saying, I'm able to do what I know how to do right here at the Hub. Jean, I think she said something like, they worked with other companies, other schools with kids, but he said, finally, we're at a place where the kids truly are appreciative of the opportunity. Because, sometimes kids in high school, no offense, but they're teenagers, right?
I probably wasn't.
I am saying.
I don't want to go to work.
That's right. So everybody had said that. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And it was all asked, again, nobody had any idea what anybody else was saying. So that was pretty cool. Wow.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's a miracle. It's still growing. Companies are coming to us now because they know we do good job coaching. We're not just going to throw the kid in there and say bye-bye.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a win-win, and that's to protect the kids. The company, I care about the companies, but I'm really never going to put my kid into a place where they're not going to feel supported. And they might not work. I didn't have my first job. You still have your first job?
No.
And it's okay, right? But now that didn't work. What do we learn from that? Okay, I don't want to work in restaurants, but I'm really good with animals. Whatever that is, we're there to keep it going, keep moving. And I think that's a big difference. A lot of companies just get the kid a job, and then it's bye-bye, now you can work at Target the rest of your life. Well, that's not fair to our kids.
Yeah.
They're brilliant.
Yeah.
They're all the smartest people in the world. They'll have a little Asperger stuff going on, and it's okay.
Yeah.
What would we do without them?
That's right.
Right? So how do they fit in? How do they have a family? How do they have friends, an apartment, all that stuff that they deserve just like we all do.
So wait, is your whole teaching career, has it always been in this field?
I was a Catholic school teacher back in New York and a PE teacher, which the name Coach came from.
Oh, that's where the coach came from. Yes, she's known as Coach.
Yeah. And then moved here, got also hired by my mentor, Dr. Webb, as a Catholic school PE teacher. And I worked there for 8 years. Dr. Webb opened a school, and I said, take me with you. So I was the first teacher hired at that school, and that's where I stayed for 17 years.
That's how you, wow, so you were a PE teacher.
Correct.
Because this is great for teachers to know. So, because you're in a public school, basically, right? PE
Catholic school.
Oh, Catholic school, okay, I'm sorry. But then she started this school for kids with neurological differences.
Correct.
Well, do you know her story? Not that, but why did she start that school?
I do know that story because she has a heart bigger than her also and wants to make a difference. So this little Catholic school in Houston, she started taking some special needs kids because she knew they needed a place. So she would take a learning disabled kid, whatever. So the word got out in the city that this little Catholic school, and we had a lot of Catholic families who wanted, but their kids were not accepted into the programs. So she was taking them, and then got to the point where she was in a special school, but she didn't want to turn people away.
Yeah.
So she knew that Catholic school was established and going to make it, so she wanted to open a school for these other kids that didn't have a place to go.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Holy cow.
Yeah. So she started the other school, and I knocked on the door and said, hey, take me with you, and I was the first teacher hired.
Get out of, I didn't
So
know
then
that
I
story.
became, so I even was part-time PE at the time. at the new school, and then I just went into the whole life coach mode.
Which is amazing, Kyle, because what you're doing, Adrian, all of your teachers, again, nothing. Teachers are awesome, but what you guys are doing, in my opinion, okay, I can say this, I think is a lot more challenging. I think it's fair to say it's a lot more challenging than regular public school, because you're seeing stuff that most people don't know how to deal with.
Yes and no.
Go ahead.
Okay, so if I'm a public school teacher and I have to teach lesson 12 on May 30th, whatever that is, right? Because that's what the curriculum tells me I have to do.
Yeah.
And I see you're struggling, and I'm bound to not be able to address that because I have to make sure the other 22 kids have to get that. So
oh, wow, okay.
I think that teacher would want to do that.
Oh, there's no doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
There's
So
no
to
doubt.
us, we have that freedom. Like if we can be doing the best lesson, but someone says something and your face is like, that was mean, and we could tell, then everything stops. The math isn't important. Hey, what just happened? Look at Rob's face.
Yeah.
That's the lesson that is so important, that in public school you don't have the opportunity to do.
No, you don't have the opportunity.
But all the kids need that. My kids needed it. I needed it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Just to stop and say, hey, sarcasm is funny for everybody but the person at the other end. And the person's going to laugh because they don't want to feel like left out, but it hurts.
Yeah.
So how do you address that and teach kids how to use mediation as opposed to anger? All those kind of things we're allowed to do, and we could stop a class and that becomes the rest of the class, and it's the most important thing we can do. So those other teachers in public school, I think would want to, and they can't. So I think they have a more frustrating job than we do in that realm.
That's good. That's a good way of putting it.
Right.
Good way of putting it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Kyle, here's a question for you about, this is about Collen Russo, because I know you for 20 some odd.
Who is that
30 years? So we met, again, I can tell that whole story, but I met you in the 80s, I think it was, right? Okay. We're both from New York. I'm Italian, you're Irish, right? And generally speaking, and I'm going to say this, it's going to sound how it's going to sound, but Italians, Irish in New York, we're hot-headed and everything else. You are not. Matter of fact, one time you said, I think you said the word damn. And you're like, I'm sorry to use the bad language, but I'm very mad. I'm like, that's bad language. Where does that come from? Where your temper or your no temper, where does that come from? I knew your parents, but very little. Is it from?
Came from my parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were the most mellow. My dad never met a person that wasn't his friend. My mom would help anybody. If you came in our house at 5 o'clock on a Thursday night, whatever was in the refrigerator came out. That's just, you're always welcome in our house. We would help people. They were active in the church. My family are all clergy. So one of my cousins, one of my favorite cousins, I shouldn't say that on TV. But, anyway, she was a Franciscan sister, and she was the one, I think I was 12, and said, you're going to make a difference in the world. And I was like, I was 12, right? Wow. You're going to go to school, you're going to go to college, you're going to keep going. And as a matter of fact, when I got married, she kept saying, glad you get married and glad you're having kids, but remember, you're going to make a difference in the world. And I just kept stuffing it.
See, that's so cool. That's a great story.
I know. Well, I still have her. She was nominated as and won Principal of the Year for Catholic schools in the whole country. So I have her thing in my garage. It broke. As a matter of fact, the last broke. But anyway, yeah. So she was like kind of, now I look at her like I have a picture in my room, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to work today.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just a whole different. But anyway, yeah, my family is very laid back. I never heard my father say a curse word ever, or my mom. We just didn't do it.
Wow.
And my mom used to say, okay, you can teach a monkey to curse. Because when people get frustrated and they don't know what to say, what do? They revert to cursing.
That's right.
You can make somebody feel this big by using big words. So, which is, like I said, I don't mind my friends do. I don't judge anybody.
No, you definitely
It just
don't.
was never in our culture. It was just never brought up. We were very laid back Irish people. You know, meat,
Here's how laid back
potatoes.
Here's how laid back you are. If I'm not mistaken, and she drives in Houston every freaking day, and Houston is insane with traffic. Have you ever used your horn?
No.
A woman who's never used a horn. A person, a driver in Houston never used a horn. That's
in New York,
awesome.
I never did either.
Oh my God.
It got worse.
I was using the horn plus hand signals, if you know what I'm saying.
No, it takes a lot to get me
Wow.
riled up.
All right, so we'll close with this here. Close with this question. Do you have any advice you would give to again, you were faced with, you lost your job. So let's go there.
Okay.
You lose your job, and I say lose your job. I know you pushed out and everything else, but either way, it was something you didn't want to do. You clearly did not give up. You didn't say, well, I'm just going to go get a job. You were like, hey, I'll do whatever I got to do. That's that which I love. You were like, I'm not going to work here. I'll do whatever I got to do.
Right.
But whatever you had to do was goal oriented. Was it goal oriented? Was it just your love? You knew you had to do this. What advice would you give to somebody? Because somebody right now is watching this, just lost their job. They think they're at the end. They can't move. Can I ask how old you were when this happened?
59.
59. So.
Yeah, and it's not something you can say, okay, I'm going to go into accounting, right? You don't,
Yeah.
at 59, you don't do that.
Yeah.
So in my head, I knew I'd probably go somewhere and teach something or whatever, but you know, it just happens so fast, so magically, but just don't ever give up on what you think you can do. I knew where my passion was. I knew where I wanted to be. I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't believe I wanted to open a school. That was never in my, really wasn't. That would, you know, I still can't believe it today. I pinch myself like this really happened and we're going to be here. The school's going to be here long after I'm gone, which is incredible. Yeah. But just surround yourself with good people. Keep yourself like in good standing with people. I don't know. People just I think they like to be with me and I like to be with people. So I think it's just a reciprocal thing. And I think that energy and that love and passion come through when people know you have it. Just be real, be yourself, and always try to find that, even though it's hard, find that glimmer of something that you can hang on to. You know, like, okay, we'll meet in a park. Oh, we'll meet in Starbucks. Oh, we'll meet in my dining room. And then next thing I know, I have a school. It just kind of happened. I never gave up. I was never, you know, I was more sad in the situation I was in, going to work every day. That last 6 months was horrible. I mean, I was down, I was depressed, I didn't want to go. That never happened to me in my life. And I wanted to be with the kids. Yeah. So it was really torn. Like, I can't leave these kids midway through the year. I would never do that. But at the same time, I couldn't do what I needed to do for them, which was really frustrating.
Yes.
So it was really hard. That 6 months was horrible, but after that, it just kind of boom, 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 and it just happened. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know. I was very lucky that it happened the way it did. And
it's like I just told my last guest who was here last week, it was what seems like, and it was the hardest, worst part of your life. But if that wouldn't have happened,
correct,
you would have never opened the school, and these kids would not be you would know, because now you're truly, again, you're changing lives at the other school. But again, what the hub is doing today, Kyle, is amazing. And it would have never happened if that horrible thing didn't happen 8.5 years ago. Is that what we were saying? 7.5, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the philosophy of that school, the original philosophy of that school, just reignited and is alive and well.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the difference. I didn't create this magical thing. I just knew what I knew was right because of Dr. Webb and what she instilled in me from there. And the faculty that came with me also knew that. So that's why it was a no-brainer. Everybody's like, okay, where are we going? We're going to just keep this vision and this mission going because we knew it was right.
Yes. And
we have. And, you know, of course, you grow and you get better and you get better. And just like Dr. Webb did over the years, she's still my mentor to this day. So it's those thing that she started really is still happening, and she taught us, and we're just keeping it going.
Awesome, Kyle. I think with that, we'll end it. That was great. By the way, this is beer number 7. We've done a lot of...
And a couple of shots of tequila.
There we go. All right, that's a wrap.